Hello, everybody. So happy to see you today. I am Dondi Dahlin. If you don't know who I am, I'm Donna Eden's daughter. I am coming to you from Southern California, San Diego to be exact. And I have an incredible guest today who I am going to be talking to you about. She's going to be talking to you about some things, and her name is Madison King. Hi, Maddie.
Hi there, Dondi. Hi, everyone.
So I'm going to let Maddie speak in a few minutes, but I want to fill you in on what's going to happen during this little video, who Maddie is, why we're even talking to you today. And well, we're talking to you because you are probably eligible to apply for year 4 for Grid and Regression. And that's what we're going to share with you today. Now, you may be seeing this video on one of our closed pages or our private pages on Facebook, and you may not be eligible yet, but in a year or two, maybe you will be. And so you can also watch this video and learn about it and plan your future from this, because year 4 is magical. It's mysterious. It's phenomenal in your growth as a human being, in your growth as a practitioner, and even if you are simply doing, and I say simply, but it's really more profound than that, sessions on yourself, your family members, your parents, your friends. You may have a robust practice that is in your cocoon of people, and year 4 will be helping you as well. So we're going to talk about that today, but first I want to tell you about Maddie. So my mom started talking about Madison King around the 1990s to me, and she'd mentioned Maddie, and there was this incredible bonding that I felt when my mom would talk about Maddie. And Maddie lived over in Europe. We lived in America. So I didn't see Maddie, but I heard about her. And I heard about this, well, it was a way my mom spoke of Maddie, this deep resonance with this incredible woman. So jump to the mid kind of late 1990s, and I booked my first job in the Middle East. I was going off to perform in Dubai, and at that time you couldn't take a flight from America all the way to the Middle East without having a layover for a full night somewhere. So I said to Mom, I have to stay over in London. And I was young and innocent and a little nervous. And I said, what am I going to do? I'm going to have luggage and costumes, and I'm going to have to find my way to a hotel. And she said, no, you aren't. No, you aren't. You're going to stay with Maddie. And I said, oh, okay. I'm going to finally meet Maddie King. And that night was incredible. I found my way to Maddie's flat, and she took me in, and she made me feel safe, secure, confident, beautiful, all of these things that Maddie is going to make you feel when you join her in year 4, because she will be your class administrator. Madison King, I think you know, she runs our certification program in Europe, but she's also the class administrator for year 4. And she really prepared me to go off for 2 months to the Middle East as a young white American girl all alone, and have the confidence to do that. And that's what she'll do for you in year 4. But I want to tell one other little story, Maddie, before I let you talk, because it's kind of funny. It was also in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. Mom and I were going off to Scotland. If you don't know us, I'll tell you, we love Ireland and Scotland. We have Celtic roots, and we were running off, and we showed up in England to spend the night with Maddie again. And we had on our spring linen pants and our t-shirts, because it was springtime in America, and that's what you wear in Southern California. And she looked at us and she said, oh my gosh, where are your woolly mammoths? And we said, our what? that's like woolly mammoth is like an ancient dinosaur or something. And she took us into her closet and she put us in these woolly mammoths. I had never worn clothes so thick in all my life. I was like the Michelin man, and I was in a jacket and poofy pants, and so was Mom. And we went off to brave the Highlands of Scotland, and we were warm and we were safe and we were secure, all because of Auntie Maddie. And she's going to do that for you. Good thing we didn't show up in our summer linens in Scotland. So a little bit about Maddie joining Mom in America, and she can talk more about this if she wants to. I believe, Maddie, correct me if I'm wrong, that when you joined Mom in America, Grid and Regression way back in the 90s was one of your first classes, and you sort of slipped into it by accident.
Yes.
And that's a story in itself. I don't know if we'll have time for today, but if you join us in year 4, if you apply for year 4 and you join us, you'll get to hear that story. Yeah. But a little bit about how year 4 developed. Mom had a client. She was seeing clients in the 80s and early 90s, and she had a client who came in very, very ill. This woman was actually carried in to Mom's little session room and onto the massage table, and Mom had a session with her. It was very deep and slow and moving, and Mom went to work on the colloquials. And when she did, she was urged by a feeling outside of herself to stay with them longer than she had ever stayed with colloquials. And she stayed and stayed and stayed, and then she dropped in to this other level that she had felt. She had known about it, she had felt it in sessions before, she had seen it, but she had never dropped so deep with a client. And that was the grid. And Maddie will talk more about that, but I just wanted to give all of you who are watching and listening to this, I wanted to give you a kind of an idea of how Mom took it from something that was in her private practice to, oh my gosh, I really need to teach this to people. I need to teach this to practitioners, and it needs to come out on a professional level. And this grid that I had always felt and sensed and seen, I can't keep to myself anymore. I need to bring it out into the world. So hello, Maddie. I'm so glad you're with us. I love you to bits. You know that. And if people apply and come to year 4, they're going to see your magnificence. And I won't say any more because I don't want to swell your head any more than it already is. But talk to us about grid. What is it? Why wait till year 4? Give us some of the practicalities and what's so special about it. And for those of you watching this, you might think, oh my gosh, is she going to give away the secrets? Because year 4, you know, it's a magical place. And things happen in year 4 that we won't be able to explain today, that we won't be able to describe to you. You're going to have to apply and join us and experience it. But we do want to give you some practicalities so you can make that decision for yourself. I know that some of you are on the fence. So Maddie, I'm handing it over to you.
Thank you, Dondi. Hi, everyone. Okay, these are great questions that you've asked. Okay, so I'm going to jump in straight away. Okay, with what is grid? I'm asked this all the time. Okay, I want you, when you think of grid, to think of a foundation, the pure infrastructure of all the other energy systems. Okay, you could compare it maybe to the chassis of a car, the framework that a house is built on, the bedrock of the river. Okay, and Donna sees it as a graph, if you want, a grid-like structure of energy lines. That's why we call it the grid. Okay. It's robust, and when it's connected, it is going to support all the other energy systems to achieve their optimum function. So that's simply the grid, a great invention by whoever designed us, okay? However, and there's always a but, there's always a however, if through physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual trauma, your grid is damaged or even broken, okay, it's going to impact on the function of every single one of those energy systems. It can impact on any part of your body. Often it first impacts, not always, but often on the chakra system, because the chakra system is what sits right on, oops, what's happened there? Something on the camera. The chakra system sits right on the grid. Okay, so your energies are impacted quite strongly by a broken grid, okay, but you don't actually fall apart. That's the good news, okay, because there is a safety mechanism, which in class we will explain to you very clearly, that if you like puts a band-aid, puts an elastoplast over that broken grid, okay, and it enables you to carry on. And some people carry on with a broken grid quite easily for the rest of their lives, maybe. Okay, but what you will find, especially if you are sensitive to energy, is that you'll always be feeling a little bit off. The benefits of any energy work will not be as you would want them to be or expect them to be, nor will they last as long as you would want them to. It's almost as if a bit of the jigsaw puzzle is missing. Okay, so when you know how to repair a broken or damaged grid, the body is then much more able to effortlessly self-heal, which is designed to do, okay, but from the inside out on every single level and every single system. So it's a deep healing right from the inside that affects every part of your energy anatomy. So the other question that you've asked me, Dondi, and people ask me a lot, well, if it's so good, if it's so basic, if it's like the foundation energy, why on earth do you keep it until year 4? What I would say is, although it's simple, working at such depth has the potential for bringing about profound change, okay? And it requires you as a practitioner to be robust in your energy, to know energy intimately, to know how to move it with grace, how to dance and interact with the energies of the body. And unless you're Donna Eden, it comes naturally, okay? This normally takes years of working with energy to achieve. And I think you're probably at that level now. So you would be able, therefore, to respond with confidence and competency to your client's needs before you do a grid or regression, during, obviously, but also afterwards. Okay, and you also need to be able to look after your own energy as well. It's not that the techniques are uber difficult. They're not. And I think if you join the class, you'll be quite surprised at their simplicity, okay? But they have the potential to cause amazing changes in energy, quite profound. And that can often be unpredictable. So if we were to give these amazing tools to inexperienced hands, it would be irresponsible for us, okay? But giving them to experienced practitioners, such as you, I'm sure you are experienced, what that does is, it is a gift of, I don't know, of enlightenment, of inspiration, if you want, okay? I think you asked me the last part, Dondi, was what's so special about it? Oh my God, I could go on forever and ever, but you know, those of you who know me know that I'm quite capable of that, okay? So I'm going to try bullet points this time, okay? What's special about year 4? It is sacred, okay? What's sacred to me is the wisdom of the work, the fact that you touch a whole nother layer of energy, that it feels ancient, that students often say, you've helped me remember that which I thought I'd forgotten, okay? Has the potential to awaken that real intuitive wisdom. But just as importantly as awakening it, it gives you tools to work with it. Okay, and for me personally, that's why I love working, teaching, and being CA of Year 4. It's the place where you really do feel the core, the essence of Donna Eden, her work and the woman herself. In short, it's all about depth and how heartfelt work. It's magical. Okay, I'm going to stop there, Dondi, otherwise I'll go on forever. I'm getting quite excited now.
Well, that's terrific. Thank you for saying all of that. I remember when I was probably a teenager, and I had heard Mom talking about the grid, and I thought, well, what if my grid is broken, and how am I walking around, and is there something wrong with me? And she said, no. You can go through life with a broken grid. She described it kind of like, and we deal with this a lot in Southern California, when earthquakes come and they cause cracks in the buildings. So there are cracks in the buildings in Southern California caused by the earth trembling. And it's traumatic when it happens. We just had a recent 7.2 earthquake, and it felt very traumatic. These buildings still stand. These buildings are still considered safe relatively. People work in them, live in them, and can do that for years. However, they have little cracks, and it's a good thing to get them repaired. It takes a specialist to get those cracks repaired in the building, but the buildings can stand and stay without them. As a teenager, that made a lot of sense to me because I could think about it practically, and I thought, okay, I can still walk around if I have broken grids. So hopefully that will help a little bit.
That's a really good description. No, that's a really good description. I remember her telling it to me once, you know, because people always say, well, if my grid's broken, how am I walking around? You know, whoever designed it is pretty clever. You know, and there are certain ways that nature, if you want, deals with these breakages, and you'll learn about what those are. So yeah, that's a great, thank you for sharing that, Dondi. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to regression.
Okay.
And with regression, I'm thinking about some of these questions that people have asked me through the years about regression. So they've said, okay, so I get the grid, I sort of understand that, but what's regression? I've heard the word regression. In fact, regression is kind of a big buzzword right now out in the world. And they say, does it have to do something with past lives? And is it reincarnation? I'm not quite understanding it. And on top of that, how can it help me with my issues that I'm grappling with on this earth?
Really good questions, and I get asked them myself a lot. Okay, now there's a great description of regression on the website, and I do encourage you all to go on that amazing website, which Dondi is improving. Okay, so I'm not going to read you that description. I want to give you my take on it. Okay, so yeah, lots of regression around at the moment, lots of Nefertitis, lots of Napoleons walking this earth. Okay, but what Donna's regression, how it differs, is it teaches, while she shows us ways of regressing someone, okay, and I'll go on to talk about that a bit more in detail in a minute. The difference is that we follow and we track and we heal, we correct the energies in that regressed state, rather than just sitting and listening to the story, okay? So we go into the past, okay, we heal in the past to affect the present problem or issue, okay, in our lifetime now. And the way I think of it is, you know, sometimes you can be doing everything in your energy medicine practice, but something's not quite working. And that's the time when you might think, you know, I've got to look in my rear view mirror now, okay, because a wound or an issue or a problem in the past is involved in exacerbating or affecting a problem or an issue in the present day. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be mental, or it could even be spiritual, okay? So it's not just the story it's working with the energies. We work with the energies as that story unfolds, and that's the key difference. So we're healing the present, if you want, by going back to the past. Okay, so don't get me wrong, right, about this story thing. The stories are fascinating, and actually as a practitioner, sometimes you've got to be really careful not to get too wrapped up in it. I can tell you that my past life as Nefertiti was really awesome, folks. It was amazing, okay?
You are the true Nefertiti.
I am the true Nefertiti. There's no other Nefertitis around, okay? Everyone thinks they are, but they're not this. You are looking at Nefertiti, okay? And indeed, I may well have been Nefertiti in a past life, but sometimes it's not a reincarnation. It's not necessarily a past life. It is simply a metaphor, okay, to guide you. So either way, and it's a message. And by the way, I would say at this moment that if you are thinking of coming to year 4 and you think, I really don't believe in regression, I don't believe in past lives, it doesn't matter. The jury is out on past lives for a lot of people. But you can do the regression, okay, without having a belief in past lives, because we're working with metaphors and stories here and the energies. So you can still do it, even if you don't believe in past life. Okay, so where can you go? I'll just tell you very quickly, the timeline is vast. You could go to yesterday. You could regress to yesterday, or you could regress 1,000 years ago, or I don't know, 10,000 years ago. Right, you could go anywhere on that timeline. What is time anyway? But what Donna has noticed, and certainly I've noticed in my practice, that the majority of times the regression goes to this lifetime, but in your childhood or even in the womb, okay? And that is the norm. That is the norm. But you never know. If you come to regression, you may find out that indeed you weren't Nefertiti, you were Cleopatra or Napoleon or someone. So that in a nutshell is what regression is. We go to the past, we look in our rearview mirror, we heal in the past to have an impact on a problem in the present. Does that help? Dondi?
It does help, thank you. And as you're talking about regression, I'd like to paint a little bit of a picture for those folks watching this about the size of the group. Do people pair up? Is it hands-on? What exactly takes place in the room? I can speak to the sacredness of it because I work behind the scenes for year 4, and I don't teach in year 4, but I will come in and help with the lunch or help if there are any technical difficulties. And just walking into the room, and this is across the board over the last 10, 15 years, just walking into the room, there is a field that is set that you can feel down to your cells. It sends chills down my spine just thinking about it. And that is set by the faculty, by you as class administrator, by Tanya, my sister. I call her Tanya, but Tanya, my sister, who weaves the room with phenomenal and sacred ceremony that really, this ceremony she does in year 4, and there are several ceremonies and rituals. It helps you as a person of year 4 about just where you are in life, why you are where you are, where you've come from, where you're going, and how you express yourself in your life, not only to yourself, but to others. Really, these sacred rituals and ceremonies are about you, your ancestry, down to your cells and how you were birthed into this world. So that's all there. And I feel that when I walk in, excuse me, but Madison, talk to us about some of the logistics. Is this a big group, small group? Do we pair up? How does it go?
Lovely. You know me, Metal Maddie loves the logistical side of things as well as the magical side, okay? So most of the students are used to the big groups in wigwam or whatever, but we deliberately keep the year 4 group much smaller. because we want to create a very intimate energy. Okay, talking about energy, let me just backtrack there. You know, Titania is an integral part of creating this special energy, and so have the CAs and the faculties that have gone before, okay? But what, for example, at the next class, Titania and I will do is we will, with a ritual, the two of us weave a protective cocoon around the class. She will do her ceremonies. We pull the faculty teaching team in on this, you know, to create a sacredness, to deliberately call in safety, to create a softness, a tranquility, and you can feel it when you come in. And a lot of people tend to, when they feel it, they don't even realize what they're doing. They drop the mask. And what I find about year 4 is, as the hours and certainly as the days evolve, it becomes so authentic. You know, it is a very special thing to share this work with a small group of people. It's totally unique, okay? And what I love to see is it can create bonds among the students that endure over time. It's very intimate. We nurture that intimacy. We create it, we nurture it, we encourage it, okay? And we don't just do that for the hell of it or for the and bliss of it, okay? We do it also to give you, the students, a stable and a subtle support. Because what happens, the format is very similar. You'll listen to us talk in stage, and then you go into your very small groups, and you will pair up. Sometimes we do it in threesomes, sometimes we do it in twos, it depends, okay? But you will pair up, and under the guidance, under that protective wing of your small group leader, you will exchange a grid session and a regression session, depending what class you're doing, okay? And that can be life-changing. It can be very impactful because of this energy which has been created, okay? Very special, and most people feel a very positive impact from it, and it's something which will stay in your memory forever. However, you know me, always got howevers and buts, okay? I do want to stress that while it is so profound, while it can be life-changing, grid and regression are not the holy grail, okay? So don't come thinking, oh my God, everything in the world, everything in my world is going to be totally cured if I do a regression or a grid. It's not the holy grail. But boy, when it's used in an appropriate manner, it almost feels that way. You just think, oh my God, life is so much easier. Life is much less like pushing water uphill. You know, it's a very special feeling. So you can tell I quite like it, can't you? Does that help?
Yes, yeah. And what I want to say is, right, it's not the holy grail, but if you do have a practice and you are a practitioner, I really feel it is imperative.
Oh yeah.
This year 4, and obviously that's who it's for. It's for the practitioner with a robust practice who wants to go deeper with their clients. But in connection to that, Maddie, explain to us why someone has to apply. Why, if in Eden Energy Medicine and the Eden Method, we're very keen on getting our practitioners as much information as they can have to go out and spread this work in their practices, and we want them to have year 4, why do they have to apply, and what is the criteria? Or if you could share just some of the criteria.
Yeah, I will. I mean, first of all, why on earth would you do year 4? And you condense that very well, actually, Dondi, okay? It is some of Donna's most advanced tools. You're not going to be using it on an everyday basis, okay? But they are really powerful when you need them, okay? And what it will give you as a practitioner is it will give you options. It gives you choice to pull out one of those tools when you really need it. It really does expand, you know, it's not the Holy Grail, we know that, okay? But boy, does it expand your ability to help those clients with quite deeply rooted, perhaps chronic problems. So it really does add another layer, if you want, to your ability as a practitioner. And it literally, what should I say, advances your skills. Okay, so what are the criteria? We ask you to apply because we do really want to be responsible as educators, okay? We need you to be ready for year 4, for your own pleasure and enjoyment in it. All the criteria, oh my God, on the website, there's so much written on it. Okay, you can go and read that. Okay, but I'm going to just go through the key points of it. Okay, you need to be energetically robust and committed and consistent in your daily self-care with your energy, or whatever, and whatever you use, not or, and whatever you use. Okay, at this stage, you should be walking your talk well and truly. Okay, so we're looking for that. We're looking that you have an established working practice, because you're going to need people to draw on to do your grid and regressions. Not just that, that if you have an active practice, if you are working on people, it reassures us that you're getting that essential hands-on that we need in year 4, that experience, that dancing, the ability to dance with the energy. Okay, obviously you've got to be an active CLP, that goes without saying. But at the end of the day, what we do is we invite you in an essay form to tell us why you think you are ready for year 4. Okay, what happens is those come in, and myself and the directors, we independently go through each and every one of your applications. They are read, they are digested, and they're paid we're honored that you want to apply for year 4. So we really do honor your applications. We look at them independently, and then we come together as a group to share our observations, our comments and everything. And we try to do that all within 2 weeks or so of you applying, so that we can get back to you quickly, because we appreciate you're going to want to know if you have the green light and the go ahead to register for year 4, or if perhaps we are suggesting that you wait another year. Okay, and sometimes we do that because, as Dondi said in their introduction, you know, year 4 is a really magical year, and we want to make sure you're in the right place at the right time to find it a truly uplifting experience. Okay, so what I would say to you at the moment is, do you feel that time has come? Do you feel this time is right for you? In which case, I'm going to hopefully meet you at, and I'm stumbling now because I've been told how to say this and I can't remember how to say, Rancho Bernardo in San Diego, folks. It's rather beautiful, I think. And Dondi, you're going to tell us about Rancho Bernardo, which I said all wrong. I said the name wrong. Naughty man.
I would love to. You say it like it's a handsome Mediterranean man who's going to greet us at the airport.
I mean, I hope there is. I hope there is.
Yes, I would love to. I would like to tell all of you about Rancho Bernardo Inn. We call it RBI. This is such a special property, and we feel so lucky that we were able to secure this for year 4, because this is a AAA 4-diamond property that dropped its rates for us. So a lot goes into the site inspection. Roger Devanese is our event manager. He goes around, he looks at lots of different properties, and as you can imagine, a lot comes into play, especially price. We try to keep it low price for all of you who are coming, but we also always take into consideration that you love nature. Our people love nature, and you don't want big freeways and you don't want big roads going right by the venue. So we really try to provide some green space or an ocean or a lake or the woods. We can't always do it. Hotels in great places book up 3 and 4 years in advance. we're working with holidays, we're working with a lot of different limitations. But Rancho Bernardo Inn, we secured for year 4, and this is San Diego's best kept secret. My sister and I grew up in San Diego, and RBI was always, oh, RBI, we get to go to RBI and have a meal. So we'd have lunch there or brunch there. And so when you land in San Diego, you'll land at Lindbergh Field, and it will take you about a half hour to get to Rancho Bernardo Inn. It's away from the ocean. It's actually in the hills of San Diego. And if you don't know San Diego, we have mountains that get to 7,500 feet in our county. And it's nestled in these hills. It's a little similar to Wigwam, if you've been to Wigwam, except it's not flat. There are more hills and many more trees and flowers. So you have Italian cypress, eucalyptus, palm trees, pine trees, hibiscus, plumeria. It is covered in beautiful smells and flowers and trees. It's Mediterranean style, so it feels a little bit like Morocco, a little bit like Spain, and you're going to love this. It's very quiet. There are no big roads, no freeways. In fact, it's set away from the town of Rancho Bernardo. There is a free shuttle that can take you into town. It's about a 5-minute ride, but to get to RBI, Rancho Bernardo Inn, it's this one little road, and it takes you right into the resort, and then you're transported. You truly feel like you're in Morocco or Spain. You hear birds, there are fire pits for the nighttime, of course, swimming pool and all that good spa stuff.
Cool.
Rancho Bernardo Inn really prides itself. They pride themselves on welcoming you in and feeling like family. So it's perfect for year 4. When Roger said, what about Rancho Bernardo Inn? I said, we can't get Rancho Bernardo Inn. Are you serious? Don't tease me. And he said, we got it. And I was so happy. So you're going to love Rancho Bernardo Inn. I just can't say enough about it.
And we can't say enough to thank that Roger for getting it. I'm so excited. So excited.
It's wonderful. So, Maddie, we're coming here to the end of our little chat together about year 4. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up and say farewell?
I'd just like to say, Dondi, to anyone who's thinking about coming, don't think, just come. It's going to be an unforgettable experience. You'll make friends, and you know, Rancho Bernardo welcomes you as a family, but so do we. So do we. In year 4, that feeling of community, that feeling of family really deepens. And I know that I would love to welcome you to Rancho Bernardo for year 4. I know you'd enjoy it, and I know it will deepen and expand you as a practitioner, and it will heal you deeply as a person. So on both levels, you win.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Our faculty are waiting for you to apply. Our leadership team and Maddie are waiting to see your application, and we're excited about it. And if you're a little ways out from applying, if you aren't eligible yet, we will see you in the future at year 4. This has been very wonderful for us, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Farewell, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.